Hello everybody, this is Roger Hudson. In this video I'm going to play my study number 1 for the right hand. It concerns chords, rolled chords, block chords, and also legato chords, which is playing smoothly between chords. And we'll go over some finer points on right hand technique and how to establish a good right hand no matter what kind of guitar you're playing, whether you're playing electric, whether you're playing an acoustic steel string, classical guitar. If you're playing fingerstyle, this right hand exercise can really help you with some control and to establish some power in your right hand. So we'll talk about it after I perform the piece. Okay, so there are a couple of things to consider before you even play anything, and that is your sitting position. I'm sitting in classical style with a footstool. I could be using a guitar support. I could be using a guitar strap. It doesn't really matter. The main thing is that you want to have the guitar at a decent angle, where it's something about a 30 to 40 degree angle, the neck to the floor. Some people play more this way, some people play a little more that way. So I'm just going to have just sort of a standard angle. And the reason for this is it's important to do that because it affects the rest of your arm, both your arms and your hand, the angle that you're coming at the strings at. So for the right hand, what you want to do is just sort of relax your arm, the forearm on this lower bout right here along the edge. Make a fist, or sort of a loose fist, and just relax your fist. Have a slight arch in your wrist, and then go ahead and plant these fingers right on top of the strings right here. The thumb is really important. The angle of the thumb should be here's the angle of the thumb. You want to have it at more or less a 45 degree angle to the string as you're looking at the string. That position is really important. If you play with a thumb pick, it's going to be a different kind of position. And really the thumb pick, it doesn't really apply, what I'm talking about kind of doesn't apply to thumb pick players. So this is particularly for completely fingerstyle playing, either with nails or without nails. So you want the right hand to plant on top of the strings like this. And you can also have try to push on the strings a little bit here. This is what's called planting. And what you want to do is when you play a block chord, which is a chord that is not strummed, you're playing all the notes at the same time, sort of the same way a piano player would play a chord, just all the notes at the same time. You're going to play the string, push on the strings, play, and then follow through. Avoid jumping like this with your hand like this, and avoid pulling the strings. And the pulling of the strings usually comes from having your wrist really low. So you want to keep the hand up like this, pushing on the strings. You actually get more volume out of the guitar if you push the strings rather than pull the strings. So we have a couple of factors here in how to get some power out of the guitar. You don't want to, as I said before, you don't want to pull the strings. You'd actually, some people sort of, I guess, intuitively think that to get a bigger sound, you're going to pull on the strings, but you actually don't get a bigger sound. You get a bigger sound by pushing on the strings. So you want to push the strings, and then you want to follow through with your hand as your fingers play. You should follow through into the palm rather than going like this. You're never going to get a really, even if you push, it's hard to get a big sound if you don't follow through. So you want some inertia here with the fingers. The same way a batter will hit the ball and then follow through, or in golf or tennis. All of these things where you want to let the fingers continue their path unrestricted. Now, as you follow through, you don't need to have a tight fist. It's all, just sort of loose. If you're finding yourself hitting the other strings, then it's probably as a result of the wrist being a little bit too low. So slightly raise the wrist up. You don't want a high wrist like this. This is kind of overkill, and it's not good for your carpal tunnel. Okay. Now, with these block chords in the first part of the study, number 1, I have a chord, 4-note chord. They're all 4-note chords in this piece, and then dampen the strings during the rest. So there's a quarter-note chord, quarter rest, quarter-note chord, quarter rest pattern. So what you want to do is you play and you replant your fingers to dampen those strings on that chord. Now, on the next chord, you may have to move to another bass note or whatever, but you want to really connect your fingers on top of those strings, planting really well before you play. And you want to do this very slowly at first, okay? So that's the first half of the study. The second half of the study, I mix the dampened chord with a rolled chord. So this is something that sometimes people get confused about. The way to roll a chord is it's really an arpeggio, a forward arpeggio, P-I-M-A, but you're doing it quickly. And what you want to do is really plant those fingers on the string and have an even roll. The good thing about a rolled chord, of course, is that it really makes the guitar sound big. It also will bring out a melody. If you want to use that, if you need to bring out a melody, especially with the A finger. So it'll help you strengthen up that A finger for melodies, and will expose the melody a lot of times. I think rolling is a beautiful thing. It can be overdone sometimes, so sort of a matter of taste. But in study number 1, you'll see the roll chord as being there's a squiggly line that is next to the chord that shows that you're not playing it as a block chord, you're going to play it as a rolling chord. Okay, so the pattern here in the second half of the study is you have the block chord and then you have a roll chord. In fact, you may benefit from just doing it with open strings at first. Practice this. So plant, play, dampen, roll. Okay, so you have that pattern. The last section of the study has to do with legato chords. So what that means is that you're going to play chords one after another that actually it's I think so want to have a good connection between these chords. So you don't really have the luxury of planting your fingers on the strings for any length of time. You don't want any silence. So the first section of the piece will sort of help you to develop your positioning to where you plant your fingers on the strings. But then the second half of the study, you have to get to those strings quicker, and you have less time to deliberately plant. So you'll have to be more precise. So you have to come right down with that, so there's as little silence in between chords as possible. Sometimes you can't avoid a silence when you have a big shift. So something like that, you're going to have a little bit of a silence in between the chords. So I hope you benefit from playing study number 1. And remember, this will transfer over into steel string playing or electric playing. It's all the same sort of movement. You're going to push on the strings, get a big sound, plant your fingers, the fingertips on the strings, and I hope this improves your right hand technique. See you next time.